You didn't accidentally choose to watch this particular episode. You already know or strongly suspect that your child is watching porn. That's why you're here. If your boy is 12 years old, the likelihood is greater than 50% that he's regularly watching porn. Probably has been for a while. Studies now estimate that possibly 80% of young men regularly use porn, and that's probably an underestimate. And the average age where addiction begins is 11. Last year alone, one porn site had 100 billion views. 30% of traffic on the internet is porn. So pretty common for it to be used. It's isolating boys more and more. It's crippling them socially. Increasingly, young women interested in relationships are reporting that they can't find young men to associate with who are free of porn and video game addiction. They can't find companions at any age. A great number of studies have demonstrated that porn has the following effects. It incites a disrespect for women. It causes normalization of sexual aggression and violence, in part because 70% of porn is violent, increasing incidence of true addiction to porn to the point of emotional, occupational, and social incapacity, sexual dissatisfaction with real-life sexual partners, and astonishing incidence of erectile dysfunction, including complete non-function during sex with real-life partners. 30% in one large study of young men. These young men were found to be sexually non-functional without the use of porn. Makes it pretty hard for them to have a partner. Causes increased anxiety, anger, and social dysfunction, causes increased detachment from life, causes isolation, causes what I call virtuality, an inability to function in the real world, so they retreat into a virtual world where they're absolutely alone. And users become more emotionally dead. Their affect just dies as they depersonalize everything in real life because of the virtuality that they live in. These are all emotionally and spiritually deadening effects. They're fatal. Porn is finally characterized by many health organizations as a major health crisis. So a child addicted to porn isn't just having a problem, which is how it's often stated. This kid is in crisis, just as real as that of a cocaine addict. Not kidding. Children are still developing neural pathways, so addictions easily take over a child entirely and can cripple them for life. To illustrate, if a child misses out on simple algebra in school, they will fail geometry and trigonometry later. The later courses depend on what they learned earlier. Similarly, if a porn-addicted child misses out on healthy emotional development at a young age because of porn, they're almost certain to be impaired, often severely impaired as adults. This isn't funny stuff. So now, a question. Why is your child using porn? This is actually the question. Until you can answer it, you'll be confused and helpless with your child. Insanely, almost no experts that I've read and talked to can answer that question. Why do children use porn? We cannot understand our children until we first realize that what we all need more than anything is to feel loved. Intuitively, you know that. The Beatles knew that. All you need is love. But the word love has become so diluted and misunderstood that we refer to loving chocolate and loving people in the same sentence, as though both of those loves were the same. As proven by many studies, love is the ingredient necessary for happiness, and without it, we will be in pain. We feel small and helpless, and we hate that. So do our kids. Listen closely. Our children are in pain because they don't feel sufficiently loved by us. Yes, I know you love your children as well as you can. Of course you do. But you were not given that kind of love either. the kind of love you needed as a child, so you don't have that kind of love to give. Love is both the reason for our children's pain and also, thankfully, the answer. But we must understand that not just any kind of love will do. What we all need is unconditional love, or real love, which means to care about another person without any thought for something in return. In real love, there is no disappointment or irritation. You didn't get that kind of love unless you're very different from the people around you, with no disappointment or anger, so you don't have it to give your children. How do I know that you didn't get unconditional love? Well, remember your own childhood. Remember how many times your parents and others rolled their eyes at your mistakes. Remember the times that they criticized your performance, especially with the tone, or when they told you they were disappointed in you with their words and their facial expressions. Remember the times that you just needed to talk to someone, but there was no one there. On each of these occasions, you were not being unconditionally loved. No accusation here. You just weren't being loved, whether aggressively or by simple neglect. And you felt the message, I don't love you. Really, you did. Whether you consciously remember each event or not, it was like being poked with a sharp stick. Again, whether somebody intended to hurt you or not. And our children have the same pain. All of us, including our children, must be unconditionally loved and taught. Must be. We have to have it. Taught what? Taught how to maintain our feelings of worth, how to develop our creativity, how to identify and be responsible for our feelings. We can't learn anything about those things without unconditional love. Without feeling loved, we can't be taught about our feelings and who we are. When children don't feel unconditionally loved, they will try any behavior that will earn our approval or protect themselves from feeling disapproval. They try to please us, to earn praise. And when that wears off, they try whining and complaining and disappearing into screens and anger and fighting and resisting and more pleasing and on and on. When everything fails to make them genuinely happy, not just entertained or briefly satisfied, they become emotionally discouraged. They feel emotional pain. And one way of dealing with that is by using the sexual and emotional excitement of porn, which is undeniably exciting. When you feel dead inside, watching porn feels better than being dead. To be plain, the reason your child uses porn is that you simply were not loved unconditionally yourself. And now you don't know how to give that life-giving ingredient to them. And yes, you're doing your best, but you prove your inability to love unconditionally on each occasion when you're disappointed or irritated or simply lack the ability to be emotionally nurturing with your child, all of which happens much more often than you might think. All of this is crushing and painful to them. Don't feel guilty. Don't. It all began with the love that you didn't get yourself. Take the first step right now. Say out loud these words. My child uses porn because of my disappointment, irritation, or lack of emotional connection, which proves that I simply don't know how to love my child unconditionally. End quote. Say that. Yes, ouch, painful to see. But without admitting the real problem, we cannot talk about truly effective solutions. Can't. You've already learned that the usual solutions for porn, using porn, talking about it, nagging, shaming, putting parental controls on the computer, none of that works. In fact, it often makes things worse. But now you can learn real solutions. You can learn how to find the real love that your child needs more than anything else. You can learn how to give it to your child in a consistent and reliable way. You can learn what happens when your child is happy and free from pain. Imagine. You can watch your child's addiction disappear naturally, not forcefully, along with improvements in school performance, responsibility, and relationships without pushing, nagging, and controlling. Watch your child turn to you more for affection. Allow the tears to fall from your face as you see your child feel loved and even become more loving with his siblings. When children are not in pain, they become who they were meant to be. They become their true selves, curious, creative, cooperative, involved, connected. They become more responsible in ways that you can't imagine until you see it happen. How could you want more than that for your children? And you don't have to figure it out on your own. It's already been figured, thoroughly tested, and written. Go to realloveparents.com and begin with the free chapter of the Ridiculously Effective Parenting Training. The entire training teaches you how to help your child with his pornography use, the whole training. But it begins with teaching you how it all began and what you need to learn before you can begin to help your child. The training specifically teaches you about responding to porn addiction in chapters 4 and 8. But all of the training helps you with the preparatory steps to get there. We all want a quick fix. Who doesn't? That involves a short list of things to do, but it never, ever works with significant problems. What I'm offering in the training works consistently if you're committed to doing it. But it involves learning on your part, and right there is where most parents quit. I hope you keep going and find the relief, even the joy that you're looking for yourself and for your child. Again, the website is realloveparents.com. Sign up for the newsletter and subscribe to this YouTube channel for actionable, practical lessons that will transform you and your family.